Hello, my name is Jisoo and I'm reading Master Dōgen Shōbōgenzō. And we're up to chapter 84, Sanji-no-go, Karma in 3 times. San means 3, Ji means time, and go means conduct. In this chapter, Sanji means 3 kinds of time lag, and go refers to both conduct and its effect. Belief in cause and effect forms a central part of Buddhist philosophy. This is the reason why Master Dōgen wrote the chapter of Shōbōgenzō titled Shinjin Inga, or Deep Belief in Cause and Effect. He insisted that all things and phenomena in the universe are governed by the law of cause and effect, perfectly and without an exception. According with this theory, we should deny the existence of indeterminate events. But in our daily life, it often seems that such accidents happen. So if Buddhism insists that the law of cause and effect is all-encompassing, it is necessary to explain the apparent existence of accidents. Buddhism explains these apparent accidents with the theory that there are 3 kinds of time lag between our conduct and the effect of our conduct. The effect of an action sometimes manifests itself at once, sometimes after a short time, and sometimes after a very long time. In the second and third cases, it is often difficult to believe that the whole world is governed completely by the law of cause and effect. But if we affirm that there are 3 kinds of time lag between conduct and its effect, we can confirm the validity of the law of cause and effect in all cases without exception. Master Dōgen explains the problem in this chapter. The 19th Patriarch, the Venerable Kumaralabdha, arrives at our country in central India, where a Mahasattva called Gayata asks, "In my family, father and mother have always believed in the 3 treasures, yet they have been beset by ill health and in general are disappointed in all their undertakings. My neighbour's family has long done the work of Kandalas, outcasts charged with jobs such as hunting, slaughter and execution. They've long done the work of Kandalas, yet their bodies are always in sound health and their doings harmoniously combine. What is their good fortune? What is our guilt?" The Venerable One says, "How could there be room for doubt? In short, retribution for good and bad has 3 times. Generally, people only see that to the good comes early death, to the violent long life, to the evil fortune, and to the righteous calamity. Whereupon people say that there is no cause and effect and no wrongness or happiness. Particularly, they do not know that shadow and sound accord with their sources, not differing by 1,000th or 100th, and even with the passing of 100,000 myriad kalpas, never wearing away." Then Gayata, having heard these words, at once relinquishes doubt. The Venerable Kumaralabdha is, from the Tathagata, the 19th recipient of the Dharma. The Tathagata personally recorded his name. Kumaralabdha not only clarified and authentically received the Dharma of the one Buddha Shakyamuni, he also clearly realized the Dharma of all the Buddhas of the 3 ages. The Venerable Gayata, after asking the present question, practiced and learned the Tathagata's right Dharma following the Venerable Kumaralabdha, and eventually became the 20th ancestral master. In this case also, the world-honoured one from afar had recorded that the 20th Patriarch would be Gayata, surely. That being so, above all, we should learn the criteria of the Buddha Dharma as thus decided by the ancestral masters. We should not mix with people of false views in the world today, who neither know cause and effect, nor understand karmic retribution, nor know the 3 ages, nor distinguish between good and bad. These words, retribution for good and bad, has 3 times, mean 1. Retribution is received in the immediate present. 2. It is received in one's next life. 3. It is received latterly. Latterly, one human lifespan may be seen as consisting of a series of lives: schoolchild, trainee, worker, retiree, invalid. Okay. So he's not necessarily talking about reincarnation. He's talking about the different stages of life. Lost Marianne. I've completely lost where I am. Not only what was it, number 9, wasn't it? Okay, yeah. Retribution for good or bad has 3 times: received in the immediate present, received in one's next life, or received latterly. These are called the 3 times. In practicing and learning the truth of the Buddhist patriarchs, from the very beginning we study and clarify this principle of karmic retribution in 3 times. Because they are not like that, many make mistakes and fall into the false view. Not only do they fall into the false view, they also fall into bad states. The evil states are the state of hell, the state of hungry ghosts, the state of animals, and experience long periods of suffering. While they are failing to continue good routes, they lose much merit, and the way to Bodhi is long obstructed. Is it not regrettable? This karma in the 3 times covers both good and bad. 1. Karma in which retribution is received in the immediate present. If in this life we produce and promote karma, and in this life we receive different matured effects, this is called karma in which retribution is received in the immediate present. That is to say, a person doing in this life either good or bad, and then receiving in this life the corresponding retribution, is called karma in which retribution is received in the immediate present. An example of doing bad and receiving in this life bad retribution. There's now a massive long quote, which is the rest of the page. Once there was a woodcutter who went into the mountains and lost his way in the snow. The time was approaching dusk. The snow was deep and the cold was freezing. The woodcutter would be dead before long. Then he advanced into a dense wood, whereupon he saw, already there in the wood, a bear whose body colour was deep blue and whose eyes were like 2 torches. The man was half scared to death. But this was really a bodhisattva who had for the present received a bear's body. Seeing the woodcutter's distress and fear, the bear soothed and admonished him, saying, "Now you must not be afraid. A father and mother sometimes are treacherous to a child, but I am now completely without ill towards you." Then it stepped forward, lifted up the woodcutter, and carried him into a cave to warm his body. After letting him recuperate, it picked various roots and fruits and encouraged him to eat what he liked. And afraid lest the woodcutter's coldness would not thaw, it hugged and lay with him. It thus tenderly nursed him for 6 days, until on the 7th day the weather cleared and the path became visible. The man had the will to return. The bear, having recognized this already, again picked sweet fruits and served these to the man until he was satisfied. It had escorted him out of the woods and politely bade him farewell. The man dropped to his knees and said in thanks, "How can I repay your kindness?" The bear said, "Now I want no other reward. I only hope that just as, in recent days, I have protected your body, you would act likewise towards my life." The man respectfully assented, and carrying his wood, he descended the mountain. He met 2 hunters, who asked him, "What kinds of creatures have you seen in the mountains?" The woodcutter replied, "I have not seen any other beast at all. I have only seen 1 bear." The hunters begged him, "Can you show us or not?" The woodcutter answered, "If you can give me a share of 2/3, I will show you." The hunters thereupon agreed, and together they set off. At length they slew the bear and divided its flesh into 3. As the woodcutter with both hands went to take the bear meat, through the force of his bad karma, both arms dropped off, like pearls on a string that is cut, or like chopped lotus roots. The hunters were alarmed by this, and in astonishment they asked the reason for it. The woodcutter, ashamed, related the plot in detail. These 2 hunters berated the woodcutter, saying, "The other already had for you this great benevolence. How could you have carried out such evil treachery? It is a wonder that your body has not rotted." At this, the woodcutter and the hunters together took the meat to donate to a Sangharama. Then an elder among the monks, who had got the fine wisdom to know others' wishes, immediately entered into the immovable state of zazen and reflected what kind of meat this was. Thereupon he knew that this was the flesh of a great bodhisattva who had produced benefit and joy for all living beings. At length he left non-movement and told the monks of his matter. The monks were shocked to hear it. Together they gathered fragrant firewood to cremate the flesh, collected the remaining bones, erected a stupa, performed prostrations, and served offerings. Bad karma like this must, whether it waits for continuance or skips continuance, inevitably suffer its effect. Such is called karma in which retribution for bad conduct is received in the immediate present. As a general rule, when we receive kindness, we should intend to repay it. In being kind to others, however, do not seek reward. One who would bring treachery and harm upon a kind person, as in the above story, will inevitably suffer the corresponding bad karma. May living beings never have the mind of this woodcutter. Out of the woods, when bidding the bear farewell, he says, "How can I repay this kindness?" Yet at the foot of the mountain, when he meets the hunters, he greedily seeks 2/3 of the meat, and led by avarice, he slays that which showed him great kindness. May lay people and those who have left home never have this mind that does not know kindness. Cutting by the force of bad karma, when it severs both hands, is faster than the cutting of a sword. An example of doing good in this life, and with retribution being received in the immediate present, getting a good reward. Another little story. Like a book of fables, this, isn't it? Once upon a time, King Kanisa of the country of Gandhara retained an androgyne who always supervised internal court affairs. I don't know, androgyne? I don't know what that is. On a temporary excursion beyond the city walls, he saw a herd of bulls, fully 500 in number, being led into the city. He asked the herder, "What kind of bulls are these?" The herder replied, "These bulls are going to be castrated." At this, the androgyne immediately thought to himself, "I, through long-held karma, have received an emasculate body." Oh, does he mean like a eunuch? "Now I shall use my wealth to rescue these bulls from that hardship." Eventually he paid their price and had them all set free. Through the force of good karma, this androgyne was caused at once to recover a male body. Oh, hence androgynous, obviously. Yeah. He profoundly rejoiced. Then he went back into the city, and standing still at the palace gate, he sent a messenger to inform the king that he wished to enter for an audience. The king summoned him to enter and asked in wonder for an explanation. Thereupon the androgyne related the aforementioned episode in detail. The king, on hearing it, was surprised and delighted. He generously bestowed precious treasures, promoted the androgyne to high office, and put him in charge of external affairs. Good karma like this must, whether it waits for continuance or skips continuance, inevitably receive its effect. Clearly, Though the bodies of bulls and animals are not to be treasured, a person who saves them will receive good effects. How much more, by honouring the field of the kind and honouring the field of the virtuous, will we enact many kinds of good. Such is called karma, in which reward for good conduct is received in the immediate present. There are many episodes like these, arising from good and from bad, but there is not time to quote them all. I think we'll do 2 now. 2. Karma that receives retribution in the next life. If in this life we promote and produce karma, and in a second life we receive differently matured effects, this is called karma that receives retribution in the next life. That is to say, if people have committed in this life the 5 actions leading to incessant hell. I thought it might tell us what the 5 actions are. They're like the 7 deadly sins. They will inevitably fall into hell in their next life. The next life means the life following this life. For lesser sins, there are those who fall into hell in their next life, and there are also those who, because they have deserved the influence of latterly received karma, do not fall into hell in the next life. Their karma becomes karma of latter retribution. But for these 5 actions leading to incessant hell, we invariably fall into hell with karma that receives retribution in the next life. The next life is also called a second life. The 5 actions leading to incessant hell here are to kill one's father, to kill one's mother, to kill an arhat, to cause the Buddha's body to bleed, and 5, to disrupt the Sangha of the Dharma wheel. These are called the 5 actions leading to incessant hell, and also called the 5 deadly sins. Well, there we are, that makes sense. The first 3 are killing, and the 4th is conduct which applies to killing. There is no way for the Tathagata to be killed by a person. Only to cause his body to bleed is considered a deadly sin. Those who are not subject to early death are bodhisattvas in their last body, bodhisattvas obstructed by one life in 2-seater heaven, the angels of the northern continent, Jyotiska, and the Buddha's doctor. That's a great list. Buddha's doctor is Jivaka, the son of a courtesan and abandoned by her shortly after birth, saved, brought up by a prince. As a young man studied medicine, 7 years, became the king's physician and a lay disciple of the Buddha. And Jyotiska was a rich man and disciple of the Buddha who lived in Rajagra. It is said that he was born when his mother's body was cremated. Sounds difficult. Number 5, the sin of disrupting the Sangha, is false and deceitful words. For these 5 deadly sins, inevitably, with karma that receives retribution in the next life, we fall into hell. Devadatta, the cousin of the Buddha, who praised him as a good friend and predicted he'd become a Buddha, nevertheless Devadatta turned against the Buddha, as explained in this paragraph. Devadatta committed 3 of these 5 actions leading to incessant hell. That is to say, he killed the bhikshuni Utpalavana, and this bhikshuni was a great arhat. This is seen as his killing of an arhat. He attempted to kill the world-honoured one by hurling a great boulder. The boulder then was blocked and shattered by a mountain god, but a splinter flew off and struck the Tathagata's toes. The toes were broken and blood naturally bled. This was the sin of causing the Buddha's body to bleed. Devadatta exhorted 500 novices and foolish bhikshus to go with him to the peak of Mount Gaya, where he established separate practices. This was the sin of disrupting the Sangha. As a result of these 3 deadly sins, he fell into Avicii hell. Today he is suffering incessant pain. Even Devadatta, who was formerly like the 4 Buddhas, remains in Avicii. The bhiksu Kokalika, in order to slander Shariputra and Modigliana, in his life groundlessly invoked the Parajika rule, violation of the precepts warranting expulsion from the community. The world-honoured one himself cautioned against it, and King Brahma came down to prevent it. But Kokalika did not stop. He slandered the two venerable ones and fell into hell. When the bhiksu who mistook the fourth dhyana confronted the end of his life, he fell into Avicii hell as a result of slandering the Buddha. Such is called karma that receives retribution in the next life. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for listening. Take care.